Welcome, welcome, welcome. What happens when your sense of purpose is born out of your deepest pain? Today, we're going to have none other than RG Enzon with us. We're going to have this powerful conversation about why, your why. Okay? So I would like to just like address him and just like introduce him formally because I'm really impressed with him. You guys were with us in backstage, but we had a great conversation. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about RG's journey from a young tech enthusiast in the Philippines to a successful business owner in the US Navy. And that's his testament to resilience and relentless drive. He's going to share his personal tragedies that became the catalyst that propelled him to build a life of passion. And he's still young. I can't believe it. Yes. Has a resume just as long as mine, and I'm older. And so welcome to the show, RG.
Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to
So
be
I'm
here.
really happy to have you here. Thanks so much for being here. Like I said, the we had this conversation in the back. I think for 15 minutes. He bared with me.
It was fun. It
But
was
you've
fun.
come out of of sudden events, tragedies and loss, and you still came into this great space. You know, how do you show up in the world today?
I think right now it's all about being consistent. But I wasn't like that before, and in the beginning, I was very introverted. I still am an introvert.
Okay.
I guess kind of an opposite of you, but it's just sort of like
I'm an introvert sometimes.
yeah. So it's just like seeing my parents, especially my grandmother who helped raise me up. They would always be there. They always show up, and they're always consistent when they do. So I think that's kind of like the big proponent of how I do things now that I'm older, and
Hmm.
I'm just really happy and like lucky that I get to experience that.
I see. Before there was a pivotal moment for you during a deployment, the sudden tragic loss of your grandmother. Can you tell us how that event changed your world and what it made you realize?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that question. So, really, I was brand new in the Navy and I didn't know anything because the little backstory about it is that before I turned 18, my parents, who had, really good careers in the Philippines,
Hmm.
both of them were like doing government employee stuff, working the 9 to 5, but also my mom had a side hustle, which
Right.
basically earns her way more money than her 9 to 5 job. And so we
Hmm.
have like a couple of like business ventures, and my dad was like really into politics. He was basically a lawyer in the Philippines, right? So if you
Okay.
think about it, like we had a really good, pretty much, pretty setup in the Philippines. But the biggest thing was that they wanted us, for me and my sister, to have better opportunities, because at the end of the day,
Hmm.
if you're in a third world country, you're not going to get the
Yeah.
same opportunities as if you're in the first world country, right?
Right.
And because they had the opportunities to come here, they brought us in. But then I finished college and all that stuff in the Philippines. But essentially, my the immigration process back then was that, I don't know if it is the same now, but essentially, before you couldn't go past, I think, a year between that,
Okay.
within that 5 year mark, or like I think 180 days. I really can't remember. But anyway, because I kept going back to the Philippines for school while I was waiting for my citizenship, my timeline basically reset. So the fastest way, to put it bluntly, was to join the military in order for you to get your citizenship faster. Because
Right.
the normal timeline is like 5 years to get your
Hmm.
citizenship. But if you're in the military, you pretty much get it within like 2 months. So
Gotcha.
that's a
Gotcha.
big difference. And so
Mm,
I joined
it
the
is.
military. I was the first person in our family to join ever. Mom was
Mm,
about it. Big difference, right? With like
right.
our
Right.
white collar jobs that they've had. Um, and then I was in the military, and then out of the blue, we were in deployment. First duty station, I get this email from my aunt, and I thought at first it was a scam, right? Because it was
Right.
sent by military work email, and the message was basically saying, "Hey, don't be surprised or don't feel shocked, but your grandma passed away." And I'm,
Mm.
like at first, like first of all, that's really random, and second,
Right.
that's that's not something you joke about. So I was like, "Is this
Right. Exactly.
like who's playing me, right?"
Right.
And my
Right.
grandmother at the time, she was around in her 60s, but
Wow. It was
like
young.
right, yeah, and but like her energy level, you wouldn't think she's already in her 60s. She's very active,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And so during that time, I was still trying to figure out life for me because I was still young.
Right.
And I was there, and then I was trying to take leave, right? I was trying to get off the deployment that way I can attend my grandmother's funeral, but I wasn't
Hmm.
able to, and that was basically the turning point for me, right?
Wow.
Because I was like, why am I stuck in the middle of the ocean? And I get it, we have a mission because that's all the military is about.
Right.
But
Right.
I was a junior sailor, which means I have zero leadership responsibility or anything like that. So my thinking back then was like, how am I stuck here when
Right.
like I'm very unimportant at this point in my career. So
Hmm.
how am I stuck here, unable to call the shots in my life when I have my grandmother who basically raised me when I was younger, and I couldn't even attend her funeral, right? So
Hmm.
And I remember, my grandmother, she didn't have a degree or anything like that, but she hustled her way through raising her five kids, which is, the siblings of my mother. And
Right.
they weren't rich or anything, but they were able to finish college because of her hard work.
Right.
So,
Mm. That's
and and the she would always tell us, like you have to go for the things that you want to do. And so that was kind of like the wake up moment for me, like because she was in her 60s, not very young, but also not old in terms of age. And I was just like, life is too short for me to stay stuck in a career when I could be
Mhm.
doing something else that I'm probably going to be happier to do anyway. Because like
Right.
the way my brain works is that I can't sit still and just do one thing.
Right.
Like it always wants to learn something. I don't know why,
Mhm.
but I'm just built that way, I guess.
Right.
So that
I think
was,
you have the entrepreneur spirit in you. Yeah, you got it from
I
your
think
grandma.
so too. Yeah, it's the grandma and then the mom, my auntie as well. So it's really cool to see growing up.
Yeah, that's so profound. That's a profound why so many people face a similar kind of loss, but they don't have the tools to channel it like you did. You talked about how the Navy taught you three crucial skills: discipline, patience, and accountability.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how these specific skills help you turn that grief into action and start a software business while still in the service?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, before the Navy, I was pretty much, just doing parties left and right back in college, the
Hmm.
usual stuff.
Yes.
And, being the military, the first thing that they do when you join boot camp is that they yell at you, and they don't let you sleep for like 48 hours almost, right?
Wow.
And essentially boot camp is like 2 months, 2 months long, and the main purpose of it is not really to yell at you, you know obviously that's what they do to you on the daily, but it's more so that way your brain starts getting engineered to
Hmm.
follow orders, that
Gotcha.
essentially like to take the civilian out of you, right? That's all it is to it, looking back anyway. And I think the very biggest thing before was that you can see, starting from boot camp to like actually reporting to your first duty station, going to schools that you're required to do in the military. The biggest thing was about being patient, right? Because like
Hmm.
you start from the beginning, and it's not like the civilian world where like you can just answer back if you want to. It's very, there's a structure essentially, so you gotta play the game and all that stuff,
Right.
and you need to have your discipline because at the end of the day, you're supporting a mission. And
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's all about accountability as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have accountability, how can you have ownership with whatever you do, right? And
Mm.
you know, when my grandmother passed away, I basically had two choices. One, either sorry, three choices, I guess. One, stay the same. Two, sulk about it and just, you know, take my life down the spiral drain. Or three,
Mm-hmm.
do something about what I really wanted to do even before I joined the military. So obviously I picked the third option. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
easy, but you know, I think the military really helped me out with that.
Yeah, that's great. You also mentioned that you're a self-professed introvert. How do you
Yes.
use that introvert nature as a superpower to quietly scale your business and build your team?
I think it's more so about combining technology with my introvertness. I
Okay.
think we're in when I think I was very lucky that the technology was being introduced and it started to ramp up when I started doing these things. The biggest thing about it is that being an introvert, I cannot talk in front of a lot of people per se, and
Okay.
I think doing one-on-one talks has really helped me out because
Right.
before, you know, I even now, like, I'm not really comfortable in speaking, you know, doing like a one-to-many speaking
Mm-hmm.
gigs out there. But if you talk to me one-on-one, I will, you know, like, I will talk to you for days about things that we're both mutually interested in, right? And I think
Right.
that that was really helpful. And because I
Mm-hmm.
was an introvert, i was I wasn't really all about my my initial reaction would not to ask somebody. It's more so, all right, how can I figure this out by myself? So I started learning by myself. And then remember, I did my college in the Philippines, and the degree that I was taking was information technology. So I was making friends, but not a lot, because I'm shy. But
Right.
essentially, I kept their contacts, and then by the time I was ready to do all of these things, I started hiring my college classmates back in the
Oh,
Philippines.
that's good. That's
So,
good.
you know, like, even before they came up with this term, you know, VAs,
Yeah,
outsourcing,
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that, I was already doing it. It's just not, you know, a popular thing back then.
Yeah. Yeah, I was doing it too. So
Exactly.
yeah.
It's just not a popular term, right?
Yeah, it's if it's in your personality, that's a superpower. Like you used your superpower as an introvert to do what you do, how you connect with other
Yeah.
people. So I'm an extrovert, and of course I did the same exact thing, but different area. But I did the same exact thing, and then I hired the ones I loved. Hey, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way to go. I mean, I think that is it's organic, number one. And number two, you already know them. You all know how to work together because they accept who you are. It's not
Yeah.
like you have to go out and get somebody. They already know you, so you keep the connections. Even as an introvert, you can keep connections. Isn't
Yeah.
that great? That's
Yeah.
super, super. But I'm an introvert sometimes, so like sometimes I don't want to be bothered. So it happens to all of us, introvert or extroverts. It happens, but it's just so organic that you did that. And audience, we need to know that being an introvert is not a bad side. It's a superpower, and you use that superpower to create a team. How many of us extroverts can say that? Probably many, many, because we don't think about teams. I love teams. I love getting my work done without pressure. I told you.
Yes.
I think that, we as entrepreneurs. I think you're a different type of entrepreneur like me. You like all the excitement of all that's going on, but you like the soft life. You're like, I don't want to do no work. I don't wanna work. Really, and that's really what you're trying to get to, is that make your life easier, and people make it easier. Teams make it easier. So
Yeah.
that's what RG is saying us to us today. So we're gonna get to the part where RG is gonna give us a lesson. All right, this is the lesson segment, RG. If you could boil down your entire journey, okay, from the loss of your grandmother to building an empire, because that's what you built, to one core lesson, what would it be? And what is the aha moment that changed everything for you?
I think to me the biggest thing would be about choosing discipline over motivation or anything else. Because
Ooh,
if you're
tell
building
us.
your if you're building your discipline,
Hmm.
or you're building off and you're showing up even though you don't feel like it,
Yeah.
if you can't feel like it or whatever it is, but you're still doing bits and pieces, working through
Hmm.
your goals, your mission, your
Yeah.
values, and what have you.
Right.
You might feel that this is a waste of time, this is repetitive, this doesn't show any impact right now. But 5 years, 10 years down the line, you play the long
Hmm.
game, you'll see the results of it. I think that's really important.
Oh, that's really good because sometimes I get that way too, RG. I get like that, and I'm like, here goes another show again. It's like, oh, and you get like that. But I'm so disciplined, honestly, even when I don't feel well, I get myself there so I can show up because I know down the line this is going to make sense. This is going to produce something. And it takes discipline is so much more than motivation. Motivation is momentary.
Exactly.
Discipline is long term, which I
Hmm.
love. I love that. I love that about because you're young also, and you're telling the young people, listeners out there, hello, listen to this discipline. A young person is saying that this is how he built his company, his empire. So I like that. So so you're saying that was your aha moment that changed everything for you, that you had to look at discipline
I think so
versus.
because like I see a lot of people, right, especially like being in the military. A lot of the people in the military, they join right after high school, which is
Hmm.
great, right? Like it shows initiative. But also, I see a lot of people when they're already in the military, they already have their, like they already reported to their first duty station, second, third, whatever. And then a lot of
Hmm.
this is, I guess, this would be like an inside joke in the military, in the Navy
Okay.
particularly. But like,
Uh-huh.
you know, all of us would just be like, man, I want to go home. 8 in the morning. That's like the thing that they would say. I want to go home. I'm like, we just got here. Like
Hmm.
like I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. I also have my days where I'm like, I don't feel like doing stuff, right?
Right,
But
right, right.
also, like if that's already your mindset about things, but you're not even trying, that kind of defeats the purpose of like why are you even here in the first place, you know? And I
Yeah.
think if you just change your mindset about stuff, instead of saying I don't want to be here, you can tell yourself I'm the type of person who shows up.
Right, right.
That rewires your whole identity, um, and it also propels you towards being more disciplined than just you waiting for motivation to say, one of these days I'm gonna be. I feel like working. So I think discipline is really connected to success and like consistency as well.
Okay. So um backstage we talked about AI because that's your thing. So
Yes.
I want to talk about this because we got a few minutes to talk about this, and we have the lesson, guys. You have the lesson. Listen, he already gave you what is good for you. So I want to jump right into this question. Let's talk about AI. Let's talk about it. Tell us about it. I'm okay. Let me go from my perspective. I'm a senior. Not a senior yet, but I'm older. Um, what what would you tell me in diving into AI with all the myths that they're talking about? Oh, it's going to take over. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. It's going to become you. And what would you tell me if I wanted to help my business? What would you tell me?
I think it's just another mindset shift, like instead of fearing what's inevitable, I'm not saying it's inevitable that we're going to be replaced by AI. It's
Absolutely.
more so because I had this thought too, like when it first started like really getting hot, I was like, well, I own a digital marketing agency. I'm basically set up for failure, right? And I'm like, why am I thinking this, right? And then I watched this YouTube video, forget
Mhm.
who he was, but he was like, this guy was basically saying, AI is not going to replace you. It's more so that you're going to be replaced by somebody who invested the time to learn AI, you know?
That's
Or if you
that's
don't, if you can't, or if you really don't want to learn AI, then figure out how you can hire and attract talent that knows more about AI. That way you can utilize their time and knowledge
mm,
for your business. I think that's
yeah.
the biggest thing about AI.
Oh, that's so good. Hands down, I totally 100% agree. You gave me two lessons now. Audience, two lessons here. Your pain doesn't have to break you, and you don't have to be scared of everything. Fear, you know, it can be the very thing that builds you up. Don't let it, a mindset shift is so important. And it can be an ultimate motivator, your driving force, and the source of your second chance for me in my at my age range, but don't be afraid of that. Don't listen to the myths. And I think I was telling my friend this the other day, and she was saying how she was repeating the myths that everybody said. Well, they said this about. I was like, yeah, but are they you? Do they have your
Right.
bloodline?
Or like,
And they
have
were
you
like,
even tried yourself?
yeah. I said, you're listening to them, but maybe they already had this, or maybe this happened. Their conditions could be different,
Exactly.
and their mindset could be different, but you have a different mindset and you're different in general. I wouldn't take anybody's advice. I would
Yeah.
like, okay, how do I feel? Let me see. This needs to work for me.
Yep.
Okay, I see this here, because that's what I did with AI. I was like, okay, this is happening whether I get on or not, or get on board or not. So I might as well get on board. I
Exactly.
might as well get on
That's a
board.
really great thing to say. Yeah.
I might as well get on board, learn about it as much as I possibly can without getting overwhelmed, and enjoy the ride. Use what works for me. Now, I know there's I want to say almost thousands of AI products now, but
Yeah.
however I'm focused, that's what I'm using. Is where. So if I'm working with my podcast, everything's devoted to working with that. It's just devoted to working with that, making it better, making it look good, whatever it is. But if I didn't say to myself, hey, it's going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
If you don't embrace it, it's going to happen. It's just like
Exactly.
when the phone came along, when the better phone came, because they did have this ugly phone. I was like, I'm not touching that. When it first came out, I was like, no, that's too ugly. But when they come out with a better phone, it's always going to get better and better and better,
Yeah.
right? It's always going to, but either jump on, get and be on the ride, or not. Don't know how to use it, and then you're stuck somewhere. And I remember going to Italy with my friends, and we went to Italy, and we walked past. So we all have our cell phones. So we walked past, and lo and behold, there's like the old phone booths. There's
Mm.
there's this colored red. So it's like, who knew they still had phones, right? So I'm like, I'm
Right.
looking at it, and everybody's like coming over, snapping pictures. I was like, this is like a weird thing for me. And I go to Australia and see the same thing in the countryside. They got like a phone in the middle of like
Wow.
20 miles. I'm like, what is this? I have to stop. But you get on board. You have to get on board with technology, because it's part of where we are right now. It's
Yeah.
just part of it. There's nothing we can do but embrace it, or don't embrace it and be left behind. That's what you're trying to say for your business, because you built a great empire, right?
I hope
And
so.
I love that you said, get someone that knows more about it than you, so you can capitalize along with them in your business. I love that. That's great. It's monumental. So that's really good. I like that. I like it all. So, all right. So we've had this deep dive, and I love your perspective. Now, audience, what are you going to do? RG said to us, this is what you have a lot to do this week. So I would tell you to grab your journals, write things down. If you have to replay this several times, take all the good nuggets that you got from RG today, and move forward. Learn from his experience or research him. Now his name is RG. You can't miss that, because I did ask him, how do you pronounce his name? Silly me. Didn't think it was initials. Hello. But you can Google him. RG Enzon. Enzon. Find him. Ask him the questions you need about building these companies, about what he does, because he's built an empire with a team. And not, I always talk about teams, by the way, RG, to everybody. You need a team, Yeah. So how will you change your perspective? What strengths do you have that you can work with? Your goal is to reframe the setback, not the tragedy, but as a lesson, a piece of foundation for your own second chance. RG, thank you so much for sharing your story and your wisdom with us. It's a true testament to finding purpose and meaning in every chapter of our lives. Where you can find you and learn about more of the work. We said your name already, so look for him. If you have any last words, RG, do you have anything?
No, just keep going.
Thank you again, RG. And to all listeners,
So
remember this is your wake-up call, and this is a gift. What RG has said today is the universe's way of saying your second chance is waiting. Until next time, take care and take heart. Bye for now.
You're very smooth.